Okay.
Okay, thank you again. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Bess Meirelles. I'm the board president for Dakota Community Market. I have been the president for the past year, and then before that I served on the steering committee, group of volunteers that kind of helped launch everything. Do we have other members of the board in the audience that could stand up so we can introduce you? We have Greg Olson, Wayne Soren, Rachel Meyer, Denise Hall, Jason Soren in the back. Yeah, so we are members elected to the board last year, and we're so happy that so many of you were able to join us tonight. I would like to present our annual meeting to you. Can everyone see this okay? Are we able to bring the lights down at all, Jason?
Sure. Oh, it's all or nothing.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. So our agenda tonight is the introduction. We're currently experiencing the member owner update, our financial report, and update on outside funding opportunities for the co-op. And then we have a keynote speaker with us tonight, Adam Schwartz from the Cooperative Way, sponsored by the River Electric Power Cooperative. And then we will do a kind of call to action for our board of directors election. We're not going to hold the election here tonight. It is online on our website. You can go by the end of the day, but we'll have information about that, and then some of our candidates here today. So our member owner update for this year, we're at 209 owner shares purchased for the co-op. And our next major goal is to reach 300 owners. That will help us reach stage 2 feasibility and planning by the development model that we're following, the 4 and 3 model, which you received a little information about with your member packets. So we are really pleased with the growth in our community since we opened in June 2021. A lot of you have joined on. We're thrilled about that. We're really excited about kind of hitting the ground running this fall and getting to that next stage. The financial report for this year. So 1 year ago, when we did our last annual report, we had around $14,000 in the bank, which was really exciting. We had a lot of owners sign up right away, and we didn't have anything to really spend it on because we had just gotten going. So that year we had only spent about $1,300 on materials, website stuff, supplies. This year we had 83 new members join the co-op. Payments coming in was $12,600, a little over that. And then going out, we actually did a ton more this year, and our debits were $9,745. I always like to provide a breakdown since we offer the payment plans, just to let our owners know how well people are taking advantage of that. So just over 80% of our owners do the one-time $150 share payment, and then about 19% do the breakdown of payment plans with a little more favor to the $1,250 a month for 12 months. That's just a reminder of why we offer that, because it does allow more people that access to get in on ownership. So the breakdown of our expenses and where that went this year, these are kind of approximate numbers rounded. Web and software is always a big thing. We have our Squarespace website, and then QuickBooks is what we use for accounting. That came to $839. Marketing this year, we had a few Facebook ads, but we worked with Upframe Creative for our largest cost this year for marketing. They developed some graphic designs for us and a video, which we're going to premiere for you folks at the very end of this event. And then a little bit of tabling and event supplies. For training and development, we had 3 people attend the FCI Up and Coming Food Co-op Conference this year in Madison, which is a multi-day conference where we meet other startup co-ops, learn about co-op development, and just get more ingrained in this community. That was a little over $2,500 for 3 attendees. Administrative costs is another large thing. Of that, the biggest is our owner materials and shipping. So the packets that we send, the printouts, the member cards, the folders, and then the actual postage comes to about $1,900. Other things are payment system processing fees and then miscellaneous supplies and materials. Merchandise, the bags and stickers that we've started to sell is a little over $1,300. And then our other cost this year is we did 2 donations to FCI, the Food Co-op Initiative. That's that nonprofit that we work with. It really helps teach us how to start a co-op, and keeps us on track, provides us a ton of resources and information and coaching. And we did that split over 2 tax years. So one $300 donation last year, and one $250 donation this year to help them with the fundraising goal. And then we had a small cost for the event space rental for last year's annual meeting. And then $50 every year for our annual state filing fee. So those were our expenses going out this year. Okay, so the next thing that we have to do, the reason that we have some green tags, is that we have to actually pass a motion to approve this financial report as part of our annual meeting. Give a second. Okay. For those who are wearing green tags, could we vote to approve the financials? Yay, or a hand raise? Yay. All right. Thank you very much. That's really the voting portion of this event, but thank you for wearing the green tags. So our account balance, after all of that, right now, we have more than last year. Even spending so much this year to get all of that stuff going, we do have more in the bank than last year at $60,743. I double checked yesterday, and that's what we were at. So most of the money that has been coming in has come from the member fees, so $150 owner buy-ins, and that's really common for startup co-ops. We're not selling groceries yet. We don't have a space. We have that tiny bit of merchandise. But that's kind of to raise awareness more than actually bring in money. So we wanted to let you know about some outside funding opportunities that we're also seeking and that we've actually heard really good news on. The first is the Healthy Food Financing Initiative, which is a grant program through the Reinvestment Fund in collaboration with the USDA. And they were giving out $4 million in support to grocery startups, co-ops, farm funds this year. And we actually applied for support, and we have been selected for what's called technical assistance. So that means that they don't give us money, which is helpful at this stage because we would have to claim that for tax reporting. But what they're going to do is actually pay for the services that we requested. This is exciting because we requested $25,000 worth of services. Oh, okay, we got it back. We requested $25,000 worth of necessary services for our business development that otherwise we would have to pay for out of our coffers. That includes our full market study, a pro forma and financial counseling, and then board training and project management coaching. So we're going to be working with this organization, Illuminate, which is a co-op of cooperatives, actually. People who love co-ops so much they came together and formed a co-op to talk about co-ops. Adam can tell you all a bit about that later. But the folks at Cooperative over the years that we've been working with FCI have been wonderful and helpful, and now we actually are excited that we're going to get to have the reinvestment fund pay them to do some really exciting work for us. So we get to keep some of the money that we're earning from those member buy-ins after she's paid. And then another thing is, we submitted in June a request to the City of Brookings for some 2023 funding. We asked for $75,000 to fund our capital campaign. So that's the big campaign that we're going to run hopefully next year, where we ask people for support to buy or build, stock, and staff our store. It's a huge fundraising effort, and the city has invited us to actually come and give a presentation about our request on October 11th. So we get to provide them more information. And hopefully they will choose to support us as an economic development vehicle for Brookings. And now I'm going to turn things over. I have a little bit more to say later, but right now I'm going to turn things over to our keynote speaker, Adam.
days, the TV would say, please stand by. Good afternoon, or good evening. We're getting close to good evening. My name's Adam Schwartz, and I came here today from Fredericksburg, Virginia. And I am absolutely delighted to be here. I must admit right up front, I have a very significant bias. I believe that cooperatives are the best business model on earth. And I believe that we can do everything on a cooperative basis. And so what I hope to do this evening is spend a few moments with you, talk a little bit about why I think co-ops are the best business model, and hopefully to encourage you in your work and in what you're doing here in Brookings, because it's very, very exciting. I mentioned Fredericksburg because we just opened our food co-op about 15 months ago. We just had our annual meeting a couple of days ago, and it's just so exciting. It took us 5 years from the time that we first started collecting our membership to the point where we had the store. So why do I love co-ops so much? So I speak and write about co-ops a fair amount, and I got to thinking about the natural world. What do birds do? They fly in flocks. What do animals do? They roam in herds. What do fish do? They swim in schools. What do humans do? We form cooperatives. For the same reason our furry, feathered, and scaly friends do, because it just makes more sense. There's greater efficiency in it, there's greater protection in it, and frankly, it's just more fun to do things we share like-minded values. And so whatever it is, whatever issue is challenging us, I think there is a cooperative. So very excited about what you're doing here. And it will be a long haul. There's no doubt about it. You will have some ebbs and flows. I would say this, that your work to get the store open will be so much easier with each new member that you add. So I'm delighted that you would take your time to be here today. And my ask of you is that you continue to work hard and tell more people about what you're doing. And then hopefully you can have an image like this. So this was September 18th, where we were celebrating. This was our second annual meeting since we opened up. And we had a couple hundred people, beautiful outdoor picnic on the river in Fredericksburg. And just it had that feeling of being together like an extended family. I'm a big fan of quotes. This is one of my favorites from Helen Keller. And it's really what a co-op is all about. Have any of you been down to Sioux Falls and the food co-op there? Okay, great. So this logo should look familiar to you. It's one of the things I say, what do co-ops do when they have a problem? They form another co-op. And so that's what food co-ops did. Food co-ops around the country came together and formed a second-tier co-op called the National Co-op Grocers, so that they can do economies of scale and get products into food co-ops at a better cost and higher quality of goods. So if you come to the store in Fredericksburg, Virginia, you'll see this logo as well. If you go out to Seattle, Washington, at PCC markets, if you go to Ames, Iowa, you will see this. So all over the country, wherever those co-ops are, you'll see that logo. So you can probably tell that I'm not from around here. This is where I grew up in New York City. And when I was growing up, if you said co-op to me, it meant housing, because 3 million people live in housing co-ops in New York City because they want a safe, reliable place to live. So the model works in the most urban environments, the most rural, and everything in between. And I spent a good part of my career working with electric co-ops. Delighted to see Brenda here. Brenda raise your hat. She's a wonderful cooperator, worked for many years for the South Dakota Electric Association, that's now out working at Sioux Valley Energy. So you've got a wonderful base of cooperation. This is one of my favorite books and talks, Start With Why. If you like reading, it's a wonderful book. If you would like to watch a video, you can do it on TED.com. And what his thesis is, it's not what you do and how you do it, but why. And so with that, I always like to have a little audience participation in the event to those who are comfortable. Okay. So Laura, you're sitting right here in front of me. Why did you join this company?
Well, I haven't joined.
You haven't. Oh, you're on the cusp. I'm a white. You're a white. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. We're gonna try to
But I
terminate.
taught business management, so I know about costs, but I work for more companies.
Is this?
And the benefits to me, you should consider.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, thank you. I can't see your names. Asia, would you say why you joined?
Well, so I'm from Wisconsin originally, and we actually have quite a few co-ops, quite a few nationally known co-ops. And I've always appreciated the model. I run a community-based organization myself, so I know that things work better.
That's great. Where in Wisconsin?
Near Oshkosh.
I shall.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Denise?
One of my biggest reasons was just being able to have input as like a member of the community, and then looking forward to the future with some of the future like classes and some of the other things inside the grocery store that we've got.
Yeah, because it's one of the things, it's a grocery store, but it's community building, right? It's doing things like this. All right, sir?
Just more choice and locally grown, available locally grown product besides. I mean, we appreciate the farmers market, but your own one would be great.
That's how I describe it. If you like the farmer's market, this is a farmer's market, 365 days. All right, exactly. That's great. Yogi Berra said a lot of funny things, like it ain't over until it's over, or it's so crowded, no one goes there anymore. One of the things he never said, which I think he should have, was we all live locally, right? And if we live locally, doesn't it make sense that we're going to try and do things? Okay, so we've got a jackrabbit shirt on, go ahead.
We part of community and live this by groceries.
And your name is Emma. Okay, I'm sorry, your name is Dave. There's one of the things we want to do is we want to meet everybody, right? We want to make sure. All right, I mean, you're this side of the room, so we just do that real quick. All right.
We desperately need another grocery store, and we definitely need one that's focused on making decisions that suit our town specifically.
Right, yeah, because, one of the things is that, the Walmarts of the world, they'll come, okay, but then they will go, all right? Because their business model, and we'll talk about their business model, it's a lot different. And, we are what we eat, right? What we put in our bodies is what we're take out. So, having good, healthy choices that are locally grown makes a lot of sense. And by the way, if anyone's interested in getting this presentation, I'm more than happy to give it to you. Plagiarism is defined as stealing someone's idea. If you steal a lot of people's ideas, it's called research. So everything in this presentation is from all research. So I owe it to you to share it if anyone's interested. We're going to play a little video for you now. What if you back to the call? What am I talking about? Anyone know?
Credit
That's
union.
right. How many folks here are members of the credit union? Great. That's another way we can show community. So this video comes to us from Canada. It's just a quick little description of the difference between a credit union and a bank.
Hi there, my name is Larissa, and welcome to the difference between banks and credit unions presented by YoungFreeAlberta.com. Part 1, structure, profit, and high points. The differences between banks and credit unions begin with their structure. Credit unions are democratic, kind of like Canada. When you make a deposit, you're part of the membership. Decisions are made by volunteer board of directors who are elected by members like you. Because the board is also made up of members, decisions are based on what's best for the people. Banks don't have members, they have shareholders. Lots of the time, the shareholders don't even belong to the bank in question. That's ironic, kind of like me in Romeo and Juliet. Customers have no say in how the bank is run because a paid board of directors makes all the decisions. And guess what? Decisions are based on what's best for the small group of investors. But wait a second, you say. Just yesterday, a bank offered me a free iPod and we started an account with them. That doesn't sound like a decision made solely for the shareholders. You have a lot to learn, young grasshoppers. Banks, unlike credit unions, are profit-driven. They entice you with an iPod, so you don't pay much attention to your rates after you open that agenda. In credit unions, after expenses are paid and reserves are set aside, surplus earnings are returned to members in tons of different ways. Lower interest rates on loans, higher savings rates, and low cost of free services, like the free account, or forever, or however you go. That iPod might look good now, but trust me, it'll be outdated in like 2 weeks. Meanwhile, credit union members will still be reaping the benefits. So, what does it come down to? Hey, I like my iPod. My bank gave it to me. Hey, you like my long list of free services? My credit union gave it to me.
So that was obviously not a high budget video, but pretty effective. In telling you the difference between what God does. So in essence, what does it all come down to, right? Co-ops get formed because there's a common need, because there's some good or service. They are owned by the people in the community. We will always have them. And our North Star is always the members. I can be a stockholder in McDonald's and never walk into a McDonald's, and not care what they're doing to people's waistlines or anything else, right? As long as I get it, I get it. But in the co-op, you are an owner, you are a member. And because of that, the focus, I think, is very much focused on where it needs to be. So, they will say, compare apples and oranges, all right? So we're just going to quickly look at the difference between the different business models that are out there. So you've got investor-owned businesses, nonprofits, and then co-ops. So in a investor-owned business, stockholders, they can live anywhere in the world. And how many votes you get in that election is dependent on how many shares of stock you own. In a nonprofit, there is really no stock, there's no real ownership, the state owns it. And in a co-op, it's one member, one vote. And that's what it will always be. So you will always have the say that other folks have. And I just think it's a more natural way of doing business. And so then, why would you start a co-op? If you're in it just to make a lot of money, you probably wouldn't do it, right? If you're in it just for the service, then a nonprofit. Well, one of the beauties for me of a co-op is that we have a heart of a nonprofit with the discipline of a for-profit business, because we have to make money. When the store opens, your sales are going to have to exceed your expenses in order for you to stay in business. So to me, it's a beautiful blend of what needs to happen. Now, this is a very old photo. This dates back to 1844. These were the original founders of the first co-op in Rochdale, England. And they formed their co-op because they worked for the company store and were forced to buy goods at higher prices. And they said there's got to be a better way. So one of the things they said was democratic control of one man, one vote, but they actually gave women the right to vote. So 70 years before women had the right to vote in this country. And then also political and religious neutrality. As we live in a society that is increasingly tribal, one of the great things about a co-op is that it welcomes everyone. And that's a great place to be. Because at the end of the day, we're all humans. We want good food, we want good health, we want good transportation, we want access to recreational activities, we want all the things that make a community vibrant. And co-ops can help do that and bring people together. If you're interested in reading more about the history of co-ops, this is a wonderful book by David Thompson. And then just another photo from our annual meeting a couple of days ago. And I love what you're doing here with your branding, this idea of locally grown. This is a co-op for your community that you're doing it yourselves. There's a wonderful poster up here called the 7 Co-op Principles that was borrowed from East River Electric Co-op. And I'll just show you them all in a quick little review. It's voluntary and open membership. You're all here because you want to be here. And that we're not going to discriminate. We're going to vote. We're going to have a board election that you get to do that. This idea of economic participation, that there's that $150 charge, that membership fee. And I love the fact that you've got a payment plan, right? You put skin in the game. You've got some ownership and some stake in it. Autonomous and independent, right? You're going to be in control. It's the board that you elect that's going to make decisions. We're going to do things like these events and other events to educate. We had 101 events at our co-op last year. 101. Everything from live music, which we try and do every 2 weeks, to events about nutrition, cooking class. I did a demonstration on cooking a few years back. Even in the midst of the pandemic, we did it via Zoom, which was very fun to do. So all kinds of different events. We recently had one on housing and what we need to do in our community there. And when I first started working for co-ops, this one, cooperation among cooperatives, was my favorite principle because it was the easiest one for me to remember. What it really means is it's things like East River supporting this. I know Wayne is heavily involved with the Farmers Union here in South Dakota and nationally. So the idea of different types of co-ops helping one another. That's one of the things that I would urge you to talk to. South Dakota's got quite a few co-ops. All right, talking to those other co-ops about what you're doing. If you join the local credit union, they'll be supporting the food co-op and vice versa, things like that. And every co-op begins with concern for community. And we want to make sure that we keep doing it. I have a terrible handwriting, so I appreciate the really good handwriting. This comes to us from the co-op in Madison, Wisconsin, really straight, just showcasing. It's, I think, one of the things that you'll probably do in your store when it opens up, listing the 7 co-op principles. We also have 10 values as well. And the thing about the values, they can look nice on the slide, you can put them up, but what do we do to live up to those values? And that's where I think that you have the opportunity. You have a say in how the store is going to operate, and what we're going to do. Now, this phrase, tikkun olam, comes to us from one of the oldest languages. And what it means is to help repair the world. And at its core, that's what co-ops are doing. We're building a community. And we're doing it not just here in this country, but co-ops are literally a worldwide phenomenon. Just about every country has, and this is a quote from the former Secretary General talking about both the economic and social responsibility of co-ops. And I think that is the essence. We have a saying in co-op land that says, no margin, no mission. Right? Meaning that if we're not profitable and making money, we're not going to be able to do the things that we need to do in the community. But it's finding that right balance between the two that's going to be incredibly important. For several years, I taught a course on cooperatives at the University of Mary Washington in Fredericksburg. And one of the things I asked my students is, if I can give you all the money in the world or all the happiness in the world, which would you take? So let's do that right now. If I were to offer you, I can offer all the money you could ever want or all the happiness that you would ever want. Which would you choose? Happiness? Okay. Again, why don't I choose? Okay. All right. Well, so about half my students would say money. I would say, well, what would you do with the money? Well, I'd say, they'd buy their mom a house, or buy a car, or pay off the student debt, or things like that. And what would you do? How would that make you feel? Well, it would make me feel happy. All right. So one of the things I think about co-ops is that we have to make money, yes, but we don't have to make an insane amount. Really what we want to do is build community, have a place where we can connect with people and really help happiness. Now this game should look familiar to everybody, right? What's the purpose of Monopoly? You all played it? What's the purpose?
When to make money.
And what happens to everyone else?
Bankrupt.
Bankrupt, right, yeah. So you're the winner, you got all the money, everyone else is bankrupt. Well, sign me up. When do I get to live in that community? All right, so, and this is what we teach people, right? That's this cutthroat thing. Well, there's actually another game out there, and it's called Co-op, and this is a real game. All right, you can actually buy it at this website. All right, and this was developed by a worker-owned cooperative with a workers-owned business. And there's only one game piece, so either everyone wins or everyone loses. And it's a decision tree on forming a new co-op, okay? And you have to work together with each other to figure out how it's done. So I've used it as a learning tool with folks, and they offer it on a sliding scale. You can pay whatever you can afford to pay. They recommend $40, but whatever you can afford. I don't make any money from it, but I love it. We're on their 4th edition of this game as well. All right, now let's just have a little fun here. There's a lot of dots on the map. And every one of those dots represents a co-op in this country. So I want someone to guess how many dots are on that map. Say the number out loud, and then I'll say higher or lower, and then someone else will guess. So who's going to give me my opening bid? How many dots? And if you know, you can't say it, so Brenda, I'm squeezing. Okay, give me an open bid. 8,000, higher. 15,000, higher.
150,000.
25,000, higher.
150,000.
150, lower.
30,000.
30,000, higher. 77,000. That would be lower. Okay. 50,000, lower. 42,000, lower.
41,000.
41, lower. 35, higher. 38, higher. 39, higher. 48. Help yourself to a cookie. Okay. All right. So there are 40,000 folks in this country. All right. What the heck are all these folks doing? Well, let's find out. All right. So there's basically 4 different types of co-ops. Right? You have purchasing and shared services. So that's where small businesses have come together, like an Ace Hardware, and said, you know what? If we're going to compete with the Home Depots of the world, we're going to have to do things at scale. So while you go to an Ace Hardware, you're not a member of the co-op. The owner of that Ace Hardware is a member of the co-op. And there are these purchasing co-ops all throughout the country, all different kinds of industries. Many don't have the brand recognition that Ace does. So that's how Ace Hardware, how purchasing co-ops help small businesses. And how important is it to have a hardware store in your town? That's what helps makes a community a community. Worker co-ops, where the workers own the business, like the folks who make co-op. Well, if you go to Union Cab, right, the 250 cab drivers are all the owners of that business, right? So, they talk about Uber and Lyft as the sharing economy. Well, sharing, if you're sharing with really wealthy stockholders who own the business, wouldn't it be better if the drivers own the business? So that's what worker co-ops. Producer co-ops. So some of the most famous brands, Land O'Lakes, Sunkist, Sunmade, are all farmer-owned co-ops because they realize the benefit of coming together to sell their products and raise the brand awareness. And then we have credit unions and consumer co-ops, electric co-ops, housing co-ops. Your food co-op will be a consumer co-op because the people who are consuming the goods and the services are the owners of the business. So those are the 4 main types of co-ops that exist. I call this my NASCAR slide of cooperation. One of the things that you surely will have in your store is coffee. You will likely have coffee from this company called Equal Change, which is a worker-owned co-op that sources their coffee from coffee co-ops in developing countries, paying the farmers a fair trade price. And when I say fair trade, that means a livable wage, so that those farmers can stay in business. I'm sure many of you have agricultural connections here. How important is it that the farmers get paid a fair price so that they can continue doing what they do? Right? That's absolutely essential. And I can tell you that all the vendors who will be supplying your co-op, hopefully many local vendors will be doing that. They'll get paid a fair price for their product. REI, which is the recreational equipment, they did something about 7 years ago on Black Friday. What do you usually do on Black Friday? Shop, right? What did REI decide to do? They closed their store. They closed their store and they told everyone to go take a hike. Okay, well, they sell camping equipment and stuff like that. Right? It turned out to be a brilliant thing. They said that they could do it because they were co-op. This was the year that Walmart and Kmart were opening their stores at 5 p.m. on Thanksgiving. Pulling people away from their families. They're saying people go spend time with your families. So it's a wonderful story. You probably never heard of this co-op, Restaurant Supply Chain Solutions. It's the purchasing co-op for all the KFCs. So all the KFC owners, Kentucky Fried Chicken owners, they don't buy their chicken from KFC. They buy it from a co-op that all of them own. And it's 1 million chickens a day. Not so good for the chickens, but very good for the co-op owners. Okay, so whatever business you do, we're healthcare co-ops, we're the owners of the healthcare insurance, are the users of the product, and really do a nice job of increasing the quality of care. I'm going to be real quick here on board. I know you've got a wonderful board, and one of the things that boards are always looking is how we're going to perpetuate. So those who may be thinking about some service in this area, I highly recommend it. I have served on several boards. It's very worthwhile. This is the org structure of every co-op. The members are top. They elect the board, and then the board will hire at some point the general manager, and then you will have staff. But right now, you're very much in a working board because you don't have paid staff. So the board is doing a lot of that work. I greatly appreciate all of you that have stepped up for that. This is just a couple of things that boards do. We want to make sure that we're staying connected, and doing the kinds of things that we want to do. Might be a little hard for some folks to read. It does say this is all about. And I just want to again show my appreciation for all of the board members. In fact, I want to when you were getting introduced. So let's give them a nice hand right now. It takes a lot of time but it is extremely rewarding. This is one of the reasons why I'm excited about co-ops for younger people. This was a study done a couple of years ago. If you look at new consumers, what do they care about? Okay, younger folks, all right? And I love this question, what's in it for me? The way co-ops answer it is what's in it for me. Because we will do better if we come together. And when it says looking at the back of the boxes, I always laugh about that one. It's back when my youngest daughter was about 6, she's 25 now. We were in the grocery store, and I'm looking at the back of the box, and she says, Dad, what are you doing? I said, I'm looking to see if it was made by a co-op. And she says, do we have to buy everything from a co-op? And I said, only if we can. Right? So that's one of the ways that I choose to live my values. Is I look for things that are produced by co-ops. So if you come to my house, in my refrigerator, you'll see things like Organic Valley and Sunkist and Florence Natural, those brands that are co-op. We want to make sure we keep a good balance of what we're doing economically. So it says, can't really see, it says local before local to school. So if you go to Walmart these days, you'll see a big sign that says local. That tells me that local means something. Walmart is a lot of things, local is not one. All right, and I have to consider myself a global citizen. I want everyone in the world to do well. But Walmart certainly is not that. But what it tells me is that local matters. Is that that's important to folks. Also, ethical B Corps. This is a beneficial corporation. It's a new way of doing business for companies, and that they can do things other than just worry about the stock price. That's a really good thing for co-ops. We want more people to be concerned. ESG, environmental, social, and governance is something you might be hearing about. I think we're very well poised. And then lastly, the way every co-op gets started is we go to the members asking for money. So Indiegogo, Kickstarter, this is a very popular thing for young people to raise money. So we were ahead of the curve on that as well. If the co-op's successful, you'll be returning money back. This comes to us from a credit union. It says State Employees Credit Union, meet SECU's owners, and it's a mirror. You can have this in the lobby of your store as well, meeting the owners of it, and really great things. I travel a fair amount, and there's all these things like payday loans that charge exorbitant rates. Growing up in Brooklyn, we would have called them loan sharks. This credit union does payday loans that are charging 8%. And when you pay the loan back, a certain portion of the loan that you pay back goes back into the account in your own name. So after 18 months, you've saved enough money to no longer need the payday loan product. So doing things that are in support of the community and not just stockholders. This was from a survey that was done a couple of years ago, showing that people do really want to have a more cooperative existence. When we asked a bunch of questions, they said that they really wanted like what co-ops would do. So hopefully, all of you will move towards the path of being co-op ambassadors, can talk to more folks. So when I look at my own journey that I was on, back when I was in high school, I had a job, I worked at McDonald's, I moved to Washington, D.C., I started my career as a lobbyist, and then I started working for co-ops, and that's when I found my purpose. And the beauty about finding your purpose is once you find it, you never let go. This is what I hope to do for the rest of my days. And today is 62, 0, and 12. I'm 62 years old, 0 months, and 12 days. I'm counting every day because every day counts. I want to make it worthwhile. And so one of the things about looking at the co-op identity, this is a wonderful website called Co-ops for a Better World. And hopefully you're going through this trajectory to the point where you take action. And to those of you who don't have a green sticker yet, I hope you'll get one. It'll be one of the actions that certainly you can take. And you're telling your friends and coworkers and colleagues about it. If you're interested in reading about co-ops, this is a list of books, wonderful books, a whole bunch. This is one that was specifically written about electric co-ops. I'll be with Vern tomorrow night in Montana, great guy. If you're interested in connecting with me on LinkedIn, I'm interested in connecting with you. So please check it out. I'd love for you to be connected. I'm on a mission to get a go-co license plate in every state. South Dakota is taking Scott Parsley. Scott, he's got that license plate. We just added Arkansas, and on social media, I use the hashtag co-op. So once we get all the states, we'll be on CNN, Fox News, tell the world what the co-ops are. This is one of my favorite quotes from Mark meeting. It's really about people coming together. And this is the group of people that are attending the first in-person meeting that is going to be the seed that this co-op is going to grow from. And I thank you so much for your attendance and your participation, and hopefully your active participation in helping to recruit folks. I'll be staying here, and I'm happy to answer questions with folks. When people ask me what do I do for a living, generally I ask them a question, how much time do you have? I've got a 10-second, 10-minute, 10-day, 10-year answer that I can give you. Co-ops are definitely my passion, and I hope they'll be yours as well. So to Bess and Wayne and the entire board, thank you so much for giving me the honor and the privilege to be with you. I hope to come back again at the grand opening of your store in a few years. So, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Evan. Thank you again to East River Electric Power Cooperative for bringing Adam out here. What, it was Fredericksburg this morning and then off to Montana immediately after this, right? We're busy. I'm so thankful to be here. So now, we're just going to touch briefly on our board of directors elections that are being held tonight. So you're able to do this now if you want to. You can go on after the meeting as well, just sometime before midnight tonight, at which point the website will turn into a pumpkin. But go to DakotaCommunityMarket.com. The front page is completely taken over by board elections. We have 4 candidates this year. We had 5 seats open, so it will be an uncontested race for the seats. But owners Jess Morano, Vicki Ching is here. Alan Jones, I don't know if Alan made it. And Wayne Soren, an incumbent, who's also here, are up for election this year. So go to the website, click on the board elections link, you'll be able to hit the vote button. It'll just take a second. We'll verify your ownership against your email address. And then tomorrow we will announce our new board members. So now we want to have some time for questions and answers for the board. Anybody have any? Do we have a location in mind? So one of the reasons I'm so excited about having the full market study is it's going to help us narrow down. Like I personally, when I drive around town, just like every owner, I think that spot would be incredible. You know, generally we know that we have a food desert, or it used to be called a food desert, now it's got a low access zone on the western side of our town. Actually, for the entire county, we have 2 grocery stores that are a mile apart from each other on the east side of our county. So we have a major hole located more on that side of town where we're seeing a lot of housing development, both for homes and lower income apartments, access from Volga, people who are working, more in the central part of town and driving out, up to the 20th, near the Fishback, up in the soccer field area. There's a side of town over there around Indian Hills where there's a huge gap in services. So generally speaking, we know that that's where there is a need. The full market study, we're going to work with a lady named Debbie. She's the best in the biz. She specializes in food co-ops exactly for market studies. She's going to help us actually narrow down, learn about some plots that might be available, buildings that could be available, and then what are the benefits or some of the challenges that we would face if we went after That's a great question. Any other questions?
I just had a question. When we're looking for new members to join the cooperative, what is some of the advantages or disadvantages people who don't want to join a cooperative? Why aren't people joining it faster?
I think the hardest thing about joining a startup food co-op is that it's an upfront investment in something that doesn't exist yet. And we don't have a location yet. Hopefully we do, at some point like in the next 2 years. But even saying that out loud to people is hard. We're like, well, someday we will, and we're just gonna keep chipping away at it. And I think that we do get into a pattern where people are kind of waiting to see, well, when more people join, we'll join. And then that becomes kind of this self-defeating process where everybody is waiting, and we don't get the owners that build the momentum. So we do have some kind of exciting news to share, which is that we just hired an intern who's going to help us with marketing and raising more awareness every month. So that's something where our board is finding that we didn't have as much time to stay on top of those constant communications, and then seeking out new areas of town, new individuals that we could share our message with. So finding those pockets that maybe haven't heard about us yet, but we could go back to with our message is something that's really going to help us grow a bit. I think that the hardest part about getting people signed onto a startup food co-op is it's not a store that they can go to right away. I think if the store was there, that people would be able to point to and they could easily see the benefits of it. Pushing down the road is the hard part. Good question. Any others? Adam, I thought you had a question, or just covering your eyes. You. Okay. So again, I just want to do thanks to Adam for coming all this way to talk to us today. Chris Stewart, East River Electric Power Cooperative, for sponsoring Adam coming out here. Bill and Julie Ross, who are owners of the co-op and also donated this space at the farm for our meeting. Our former board members, Kirsten Jesdahl and Justin McLaughlin. And then our existing board members, Kelly Bessler, Jason Soren, Rachel Meyer, Greg Olson, Kelly Reisler, Denise Hall, Wayne Soren, and myself. And then we do have something kind of exciting for you folks. I mentioned we have that marketing intern who's going to get started. One thing that we did this year to help raise awareness of the co-op and start spreading our message in a way that we haven't tried before is we worked with Cooperative Creative to make this fun video that really explains what Dakota Community Market is. And I have it muted. I'm so proud of myself for moving quickly. Hang on. So again, sorry that didn't play as loud as I wanted. I thought it was going to come through like Adam's video did so beautifully. But we will be sharing this. It's on our YouTube channel right now. We're going to start sharing it a lot more in different places and kind of reaching out in a way that we haven't before. And we're really excited to start talking to more people, finding more events in the community. We are going to have some events coming up that will be signing postcards. So if you want, after this meeting, we do have some postcards available. If you'd like to fill one out, we'll mail it to whoever you put the address down for, so you can tell a friend or family member about the co-op. We have a couple of thank you cards if you want to send those for our speaker, East River Electric, and Bill and Julie for the use of the space. But we're going to have a lot more events coming up where we can gather like this, talk more about the co-op, and just keep that energy going. really thankful that we're able to gather a bit more safely now. And thank you to all of you for coming to our annual meeting today.
I didn't realize it was on, so I come over here and started talking to Jason.
No worries.
People